In this lesson, we're going to discuss firewalls. Now, a firewall is a network security device or software that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules to protect a network from unauthorized access and potential threats. Firewalls can be hardware-based appliances or specialized software installed on a client or server to perform this function. The primary role of a firewall is going to be to inspect and control traffic trying to enter or leave a network's boundary. By placing a firewall in front of a given network segment, we can create what is known as a screen subnet. Now, a screen subnet, also known as a dual-homed host configuration, plays a crucial role in network security by acting as a protective barrier between external untrusted networks and internal trusted networks. Under this setup, a dual-homed host will often be equipped with a packet filtering firewall or other security mechanisms by sitting between these networks. This effectively helps to screen and filter traffic as it passes from the untrusted network to the trusted network, and it will serve as a buffer that's going to inspect and control incoming traffic so that only legitimate and authorized data flows can make it through to your internal network, and everything else will be blocked, including potential threats and unauthorized access attempts. Understanding how to configure and maintain screen subnets is really essential for network administrators and security professionals to be able to enhance the security posture of their networks and protect the sensitive information that is contained inside those networks from an external threat. Now, to create a screen subnet, you must first install a firewall into your network. There are many different types of firewalls out there, including packet filtering, stateful, proxy, dynamic packet filtering, and kernel proxy firewalls. Each type of firewall is going to focus on either a more or less thorough inspection of your network traffic. As with everything in network security, there's always going to be a performance trade-off based upon how deep of an inspection we want to do. If your firewall does a more in-depth inspection, that device is actually going to slow down its throughput because it's going to take more time to go through each one of the ACL rules and inspect each of the packets against those rules, and in turn, this will negatively affect our network's efficiency and increase our network latency. Now, on the other hand, if you do a more cursory inspection, this is actually going to be a faster firewall, but you're not going to get as good of security. Now, the most efficient firewalls in terms of maximizing your throughput are going to be our packet filtering firewalls. These firewalls are going to do the minimum level of inspection because they're only going to inspect the header of the packet to determine if the traffic is going to be allowed or denied based upon the IP address and the port number contained in that packet. This type of firewall will act very similarly to a router using an access control list that's going to be placed between subnets inside of a given network. Unfortunately, these simple firewalls cannot prevent IP spoofing, packet fragmentation attacks, or attacks against the TCP handshake itself because they're limited in their inspection to the packet header of that traffic. Since these firewalls operate based on ports and protocols being used, they're also known as a Layer 4 firewall because they operate at Layer 4 of the OSI model. Now, the next one we have is what's known as a stateful firewall. A stateful firewall is going to be used to track the state of all the connections and requests that are going into and out of the network. So in addition to a simple header inspection that's being performed by the packet filtering firewall, our stateful firewall will also know if an outbound request is made from our network, and then it's going to use that information to determine if it's going to allow or accept traffic coming into the network from a remote host going towards your network. For example, when you attempt to visit a website like diontraining.com, your stateful firewall will remember this, and then it's going to allow the return traffic from my web server, diontraining.com, to go back to your host because it remembers that you asked for the information that I'm now presenting to you as part of my delivery. Now, a proxy firewall is our third type we're going to talk about. And a proxy firewall is going to be placed between an internal or external connection in a network, and it's going to make connections on behalf of your other endpoints. Now, there are two types of proxy firewalls. These are known as a circuit level or an application level proxy firewall. Now, a circuit level firewall, like a SOX firewall, is going to operate at the session layer or layer 5 of the OSI model. An application level proxy, on the other hand, is going to do a deeper packet inspection that's going to conduct a different proxy function for each type of application at layer 7 of the OSI model. For example, an application level proxy can be used to read and filter HTTP traffic differently than it would do for FTP traffic because it uses this deep packet analysis. Now, a deep packet analysis is going to create a larger impact to the performance and efficiency of our firewalls, and this allows traffic to go through the network much more slowly. For this reason, most application-level proxies are going to be best positioned inside of your network when they're located as closely as possible to the application server that you're trying to protect. Another name for an application-level proxy is known as a Layer 7 firewall. Now, the next type of firewall we need to cover is known as a kernel proxy firewall. A kernel proxy firewall is also known as a 5th-generation firewall, and they're going to be placed between two systems and create connections on their behalf, much like the other firewall types we've already discussed. The main distinction of a kernel proxy firewall is that it has a minimal impact to performance on our network, even while conducting its full inspection of the packet at every single layer. These devices should be placed as close as possible to the system they're trying to protect inside the network as well to give you the best and most efficient usage of them. Now, because firewalls have become such an integral security device in our networks, they are constantly being evolved to provide us with better features and more security. There are 3 such evolutions that we've seen in recent years, including things like an NGFW or Next Generation Firewall, the UTM or Unified Threat Management Firewall, and the WAF or Web Application Firewall. All of these are going to focus on adding and optimizing application and protocol-aware technologies to provide us with even better levels of security. Now, the first one we're going to cover here is a next-generation firewall. And a next-generation firewall is going to attempt to overcome the shortcomings of a traditional stateful firewall by creating firewalls that are application-aware. This means that these firewalls can distinguish between different types of traffic that specific applications are sending into or out of a given network. Because of this, these devices can conduct a single deep packet inspection of the traffic, and then they can utilize signature-based intrusion protection measures when they're being installed as an inline device inside of your network configuration. Additionally, these next-generation firewalls are fast and they have little impact to your network's performance. These devices also have full-stack visibility over the traffic, and they can provide more granular control over the traffic by creating custom signatures inside of this firewall. Next-generation firewalls are considered to be complex devices, and they have the ability to integrate with several other security products too. Unfortunately, this can lead to our organization becoming reliant on a single vendor over time because these different firewalls are going to be configured to work with their product lines only. Now, these firewalls are going to be much more complex to manage than a single packet filtering firewall or a stateful firewall would be, but they do add a lot of security for us as well. Now, it's important to note that many organizations have moved from a next-generation firewall into something known as a UTM, or Unified Threat Management Firewall. Now, a Unified Threat Management Firewall is going to provide us the ability to conduct numerous security functions from within a single device or network appliance. These devices include the functionality of multiple specialized devices, including network firewalls, network intrusion prevention systems, gateway antivirus and anti-spam capabilities, virtual private network concentration, content filtering, load balancing, and data loss prevention, all from within a single network appliance. These unified threat management devices have a ton of benefits, including reducing the number of devices that technicians need to learn, operate, and maintain. And this can overall help to decrease your cost of providing these protections, but there are still some drawbacks to using a UTM. Now, the largest issue with using a unified threat management device is that they become a single point of failure in your network. If that device fails, for example, we don't just lose our firewall anymore. We're now losing our firewall, our antivirus, our intrusion prevention system, and all the other things we just mentioned. All of our security stack can be wrapped up in this one device, which is great, but it also means if we lose that device, we lose our entire security stack. So, our organization needs to consider both the advantages and disadvantages of using something like a unified threat management system before deciding to implement it inside of your network architecture. Some advantages of using a unified threat management device include lower upfront costs, lower maintenance, and lower power consumption because all these functions reside in a single rack-mounted device. Now, they're also going to be easier to install and configure because you don't have to deal with multiple devices that each have a single function, and instead they're all integrated into this one device, and this gives us a lot of great benefits. But the biggest disadvantage here is that it does create that single point of failure, and they often lack the detail provided by more specialized tools, and their performance can oftentimes not be as efficient as a single function device might be. While unified threat management devices work well for the most part, they do utilize separate individual engines for each function that they're trying to perform inside of their security inspections. Whereas when you're using a next-generation firewall, you're going to be using a single, more efficient engine for a firewall, but with a UTM, you're using something where it is not going to be necessarily as efficient, but it's good enough to do most of the functions you want. And so if network speed and efficiency is going to be your primary concern in your organization, you're going to want to consider using a next-generation firewall over a unified threat management device. But if your organization does decide to use a unified threat management device, you would want to place it between your LAN and the connection to the internet, just as if it was a gateway firewall as an inline configured device. Finally, we need to talk about a specialized type of firewall known as a WAF, or Web Application Firewall. Now, a Web Application Firewall is going to be focused on the inspection of HTTP traffic known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol traffic. Now, this can be either HTTP or HTTPS traffic depending on your Web Application Firewall. Your Web Application Firewall will utilize specific rule sets to prevent common attacks against web applications, including things like cross-site scripting and SQL injections. Web Application Firewalls can also be installed as separate appliances or as a type of software plugin on your web server. This type of firewall can be either installed in-line or out-of-band inside of your network. If it's going to be placed in-line, the device is going to be placed between your network firewall and the web servers themselves. By utilizing this inline placement, these devices can prevent live attacks, but they're also going to slow down your web traffic, and sometimes they'll block legitimate traffic by mistake. Now, if it's placed in an out-of-band configuration, it's just going to receive a copy of all the traffic that was destined for your web server using a mirrored or span port off of a switch. This is going to be a very non-intrusive way to conduct your web application filtering, but in this configuration, it cannot block live web traffic if you're using this configuration. Instead, it works more like an intrusion detection system because it sees all the information and it can then alert on it, but it can't actually block it if you're not in line. So, as you can see, there are lots of different choices when it comes to firewalls when you're designing the network architecture for your organization. You can choose to use Layer 4 firewalls, Layer 7 firewalls, next-generation firewalls, unified threat management systems, and web application firewalls, depending on your specific use case. A Layer 4 firewall is going to operate at the transport layer and make filtering decisions based on the information about port numbers and protocol data without inspecting the content of its individual data packets. A Layer 7 firewall, on the other hand, is also known as an application proxy or application firewall, and it operates at the application layer and can inspect, filter, and control traffic based on the content and characteristics of the data's payload. A next-generation firewall, or NGFW, is an advanced security appliance that combines traditional firewall capabilities with additional features like intrusion detection, application awareness, and advanced threat protection. A unified threat management firewall, on the other hand, is a fully comprehensive security solution that integrates multiple security features, including firewalls, antivirus, intrusion detection, and content filtering into a single unified platform. And finally, we have a web application firewall. A web application firewall is going to be focused on the inspection of traffic at the HTTP or HTTPS levels to be able to use specific rule sets to prevent common attacks against your web applications, including cross-site scripting and SQL injections. So remember these different types of firewalls and what each one is going to be used for, so you'll be a successful cybersecurity practitioner.